Today's episode is brought to you by Altoids because, let's face it, navigating the dating world isn't easy, but with Altoids, your breath will be stronger than the urge to text.
You up at 1 a.m. More intense than a rose ceremony and more reliable than your bestie's questionable dating tips.
Like, do the simple things. Make sure that you have fresh breath wherever you go, and you got to do it with Altoids. Altoids is your sidekick in dating. Do yourself a favor and make sure that you have fresh breath. There is no bigger turnoff than stale, stinky, rotten breath.
It's also so easy because I feel like with gum, you always either, hey, I've like a wrapper you got to throw away, or you're like, the gum gets nasty and you're like, where can I throw this gum away? With an Altoid, it's just so easy to throw in your bag, so easy to just dissolve in your mouth, chew it up, fresh breath immediately.
Altoids is the strong, reliable, and intense boost of freshness that young professionals and single minglers need to be their authentic selves in daily life. When walking into a high-stakes moment, if you have Altoids, your breath is one less thing you have to think about. When it comes to needing confidence and security to show up as your original self, Altoids has you covered.
They're not just mints, they're curiously strong mints.
Find Altoids in the checkout aisles. Grab your 10 today.
You're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Ask Nick edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by the household. We got Scooter, we got sweet boy Justin. I didn't mess that up that time.
I know, you got it quickly.
How are you two doing?
Doing good. I went to
Pretty good.
Disneyland yesterday.
Ooh, yuck.
Yuck.
Is this like pre-parenting?
No, it's Passover, so Danny's family's in town, and he has some younger cousins, so we all went as a group. And
You're a Disney fan?
so I haven't been since I was a kid.
Hmm.
Not necessarily a Disney fan. I mean, I enjoy the movies, but I'm not like one of those people that needs to go to Disneyland every year.
Theme parks in general, how do you feel about them?
Love.
Yeah, I like them.
Really?
I did dive down a rabbit hole this weekend of like the Disney College program.
What is that?
It's a program that trains people to work at the parks. But then it's like you make, like what you make basically pays for your living through the program. So you only make like $200 a week.
These are
Anyways.
just people who work at the park, like not necessarily
People that
the
want to work at the
characters?
park. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Aren't
you
they like a lot of foreign exchange students?
I think part of it, that's a big pipeline too. Very fascinating.
Is it legal? Are
What
they
is-
paying them like
I think they are. I would hope
The
so.
appropriate
I mean,
amount?
I will
That
say
doesn't
the rabbit
seem-
hole I fell down was a lot of people saying that they got scammed and overworked. So
I had a
Okay.
friend
it was very
who
interesting.
was a Disney princess.
Me too.
Did you?
What princess was?
I
Mine
think
was Tinkerbell,
She was
so kind of.
Belle.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh,
Bells.
okay.
Yeah.
two bells?
Which Disney prince would you be?
I thought you were going to ask me which Disney princess would I want to
Princess.
date more.
Oh,
Okay, both.
who would you want to be because of the girlfriend?
What? Yeah, like what? Do we know anything about the other
princes?
than other than Eric, maybe from
True.
There's
Little Mermaid.
Gaston.
Gaston's not a prince, he's a villain.
Okay, so characters in general then.
I mean, like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, they're just kind of generic prince. Like they're just called the prince, right? Aren't
Okay,
they?
fine. So which Disney princess would you date?
I was a Belle fan. I always
Okay.
liked
Okay.
Belle. Yeah,
She can sing.
they all could sing.
Can they?
Except for Ariel when she gets her voice taken away.
Ha, 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 ha.
That was pretty good, Nick.
Yeah, I was a Little Mermaid fan. Saw it in the theaters as a kid.
Like when it first came out.
Sha la 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 la, don't be scared.
It's a good one.
I haven't seen the new one.
I haven't seen it
I haven't seen
either.
any of the remakes.
No, I haven't seen any of the live action ones.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
In theory, it sounds like something I'd be interested in, but I just never got around to it.
The animated ones just hit so hard and they were just such a core part of my childhood that I
Yeah,
don't care to see more.
yeah.
I saw the live action Aladdin, and Jasmine's new song was good. That's
right,
the
and
one
then
I
they
did see.
add songs and I don't
Yeah.
want them to.
They
and
add
cut,
songs.
Jasmine had a new song in this one, but it was good.
They add
Like, I
songs
stand
and
by
they
that
cut
one.
songs. When they cut them, I
Well,
get really
Robin
upset.
Williams was amazing as who plays the genie in the new
Mhm.
one.
Will Smith. He was funny too. Speaking of remakes, a little bit ago we did Smash or Pass with dating ideas. That's when we talked about like karaoke, hiking, going out to sushi. A lot of people resonated with that. So we thought, let's redo it, but let's make it a modern take on it.
Okay,
Now we're doing tech dating, Smash or Pass.
like how we use tech in dating.
Yes.
I mean, I just feel like technology presents a lot of dating conflicts and also, you know, it's a whole new world.
Technology in general, like just offers opportunity for people to be lazy?
I think it offers opportunities in a good way and a bad way. And it's just like a whole new world of dating than it was for like our parents and grandparents before technology was a thing. Mm-hmm. So we've put together a list of things that come up with technology and relationships. So smash or pass edition. Okay. So red receipts. Putting on red receipts for your partner specifically.
Nally and I have them on. Is this in a like we have it on? I don't remember the genesis of it.
Do you have it on for everybody?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But it's just like we know when someone's read it. For us, it adds more information. Mm-hmm. And more information helps with communication for the most part. I think it's totally inappropriate and toxic if you're not in a very solid, secure relationship.
Why would it be toxic?
Because I think when it comes to text messaging, there's way too many built-in assumptions. The assumption one is response time. Mm-hmm. That we live on our phones. I think when you're two couples with a kid getting married, it's just nice to know that Nally has read something if I need to know that she's read it, and I'm not so insecure that I'm like, just please respond to me. And like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about that, but it's just like, I need to maybe pass on information and I need to know that she got it and she might be like holding river and I don't need a thumbs up or a heart or a response. I just need to know she read it, so to speak. So it's adding more information, but short of having that security of like, it's just adding information, I think it adds more questions with information you're receiving if you're not in a secured relationship. Just because we read a text, like we send someone a text in the middle of the day, like if I received a text right now, I have a terrible habit of looking on my phone. I also have a million things going on right now. So right now I'm dealing with potential emergencies. So I might get a notification. I'm going to check my phone. If I get a buddy asking me a question and I might look at it and read it, and then I could forget about it. I have a million things going on. And then it all of a sudden comes across as an extra layer of not only did I send it to him, I know he saw it and I know he didn't respond.
Right.
But I'm in the middle of a day. I got a bunch of things going on. I had, and so like, it's just an added layer of like, why the fuck did you not respond to me? Mm-hmm. I think having your read receipts on for everyone in a dating situation, if used correctly, puts you in a position of power if you're trying to be manipulative. Yeah. I think in the past, people saw read receipts as it would be embarrassing if someone knew that you read their message and you didn't respond, but quite the opposite.
That's where it comes from when people say, oh, they left you unread.
Yeah, they left you unread, So like, it's like if you're letting people know deliberately you're leaving them unread and not responding, that puts you in a position of power. Again, puts you in a position of people thinking you're inconsiderate or a dick. But if you're dealing with a fuck boy, but again, you're now we're getting into toxic. We're getting into toxic behavior. We're getting into manipulation. We're getting into game playing and things like that. So, yeah, that's my answer there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Mostly pass, but we smash.
Okay. Smashed, but pass.
Yeah. I'd say smash too, because sometimes Danny will be at work and he'll fall off the face of the earth. And if I see that he read my message, I at least know he's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can say, hey, I need an answer if they don't answer me, but it's not a like, why have you responded? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a data point I might need to enhance our communication.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
What about syncing calendars? I feel like that's adjacent on like tracking where people are and how busy.
But again, it's so much is a matter of intent. Okay. Nally and I do follow each other's location. If she's driving and I can find out when she's home, I can check her location to make sure she's on her way home rather than text her and get her to message me while she's driving.
Okay, so this is sharing locations.
Sharing locations. Yeah, am I skipping ahead?
Yeah. Okay, so sharing locations.
Yeah, so much it's intent, Are you doing it to spy? Are you keeping track on that? I've never been like, where the fuck is she? And like thinking she was somewhere else to spy on her. You know what I'm saying? Like I have Nally's password on her phone. I've never gone through her phone. She has asked me to get something from her phone. I've gone in her phone. I have used her phone when it's available and I'm like, where's my fucking phone? Oh, Nally's phone's right here. But I've never like gone into her DMs. I've never gone into her messages. I've never been like, what? Let me know it now that I'm in here. Let me look around and see if I find something that'll annoy me. We have that stuff on and we're using it because it helps.
Hard smash. I agree.
I agree. I completely agree with a smash for this one. Again, making sure that he's alive and where he's, if I see he's at wherever his session is or on his way home, like great, he's alive. And also, I think that a lot of these are signs just of a secure relationship. Like if you do share locations, if you do have your red receipts, like these are just things that are helpful tools to help with your relationship as opposed to using them in a toxic way.
If you're in a committed relationship and you're like, well, why do you want to follow me? Or why do you want my read receipts on? It's like, why not? Why do you think, why did you even ask that question?
Yeah.
Again, it's
what are you hiding?
No, again, but like Natalie and I didn't do that right away. It wasn't until we were engaged we turned that stuff on.
So I guess that begs another question. Like, when are you at the point in your relationship to...
We could have done it a lot sooner, but I think it made more sense. And it just kind of came up where it was like, yeah, I guess I should be following.
And then you just leave it on.
Vice versa. And we just kind of left it on. I don't remember when the red receipts thing happened. I think it might have been before. Honestly, I think Natalie turned it on for me. I think Natalie went in and turned it on for the both of us. I think that might have happened. But yeah.
I will say for location, the first 4 months with my partner, the only way I got to his house was like directions to location.
Oh, I do.
Like I didn't remember his address, so I was like,
sure,
directions to so-and-so.
It all comes down to intent. Why are you asking? What's the reason? Does it feel like your partner's asking you because they don't trust you or they're spying on you? Or is it like, hey man, wouldn't it make our lives easier if we did this? And if it's making your life easier because your lives are so intertwined, then no problem.
Yeah, 100%. It's also helpful for like, oh, I'm going to order dinner. It's good to know like how far away they are from home to know, Okay, so smash on location sharing. Let's circle back. Syncing calendars.
It's back to same answer as location.
Yeah. But with syncing calendars like help just for planning like dates or movie nights
me and Allie
or proposals.
Do not sync calendars, and honestly my life would probably be easier if it is, because how many times am I asking you guys, check with Natalie, ask Natalie, I don't know, blah blah blah, find out from Natalie,
Yeah. Yeah.
Syncing
100%.
calendars would stress me out.
Really?
Like already having my own like 10 dots on a day stresses me out, so I can't imagine like putting double that onto it.
So it's a pass for you?
It's like, no, I just don't need it.
It's tough. Well, I mean, it again depends on your brain, because like I can't even look at calendars. I need someone telling me where to go and what to do.
See, I'm the exact opposite. Like there would be times where Danny would schedule something and then just not tell me. And then I'd be like, wait, we have dinner. So like when we merged calendars, and I'm the only one who looks at it, but now I know, okay, he has this day, so I'm not going to schedule that. Or I just like will pull up his calendar and be like, oh, okay, he started a session at 3, so he won't be home till late tonight. So I find it like definitely hard smash.
Do you leave your calendar with both on it? Or do you like leave just your calendar and then you go to his calendar?
Honestly,
syncing would be merging both of them, right?
I have his calendar and my calendar.
Chaos. Literally can't read that.
But I'm a planner. That's my personality. Like I need to know the plan.
Natalie and I, neither of us are planners. Yeah. We make it work though.
Yeah. I think you guys should try syncing your calendars. See what happens.
Yeah, well, we'll probably have you guys do it sooner than later.
I'm going to sync your calendars. How about that? Can I sync your calendars?
Amazing.
I can't imagine looking at your calendar sync though. Like it would be helpful to Leia.
I'm going to sync your calendars right after this.
If I was looking at your and Natalie's calendar synced together, I can only imagine how like throw River's calendar in there.
Oh, right.
Oof.
Yeah.
Diaper changing.
Okay, this one is just making rules around having phone time.
Messy.
Dinner, bed, just to make sure that you're not on your phone in the middle of dinner.
Listen, as someone who is on his phone too much and simultaneously feels like phones are a detriment to our society, and I'm very much worried about it as a new father, it's like, hey, let's try to do this, and let's try to, like, there have been times where when Natalie and I have gone out to dinner, I haven't brought my phone, But that was a choice I made. Natalie never was like, told me or asked me to do that. You better be doing it together. I'll say this much. It better not be one of those like, well, you're on your phone a lot, so you should never have your phone during this time.
But
like,
I can.
But you can. Like, that's never good. You make up these rules and then neither of you follow. And then it could be one of those things you guys weaponize against each other in an argument. I think it's more productive to, as a couple, say things like, we should really make an effort to try to do this. And what are some small things we can do? Maybe we try not bring our phones the next time we go out to dinner. And it's more like that rather than setting this rule that you inevitably are going to break. And then whoever breaks it first, the other person gets more frustrated. You see where I'm seeing how it gets messy?
100%.
So I think something that you say you're going to setting a goal as a team and motivating each other as a team to meet that goal, I think is productive. Coming up with all these like rules for you guys to inevitably not follow to get frustrated at the other person, I think is a potential recipe for disaster. So I think it's all about how you go about doing it. And I think the rules need to be less rigid. And I think it needs to be more about goal setting and team building.
I really like your not bringing your phone to date idea. Like a dinner date. That's a good idea.
Even as a personal, like for people being on your phone all the time and being so connected. And it's just like, I get anxiety when I don't respond to people because I mean, my life is solving problems. I don't know if you guys realize that about like, it's all I do now when I'm not, it's like how it feels every day. As people just call me up with a problem, that's all I do every day. So now I have this like anxiety of like, I have to have my phone on me because there might be a problem I need to fix without it not being solved, which is obviously not true. And, you know, it's like, even if it was true, I have to set some boundaries. And just if you're going to go out to a restaurant, why should your phone be there?
Or leave it in the car.
Just leave it in the car, leave it at home. It's a nice little practice. It's an easy way to get a little bit of alone time from your phone.
It would give me so much anxiety.
Well, the more reason you should do it.
I know. I would just, my brain would be like, what if there's an emergency?
Because don't you have like phantom vibrations?
I do.
You guys know that so that's why you might as well just throw it away. Not throw it away, but
I get them in the middle of the night too, where I'll like
you wake
roll
up?
over and look at my phone.
Well, I was saying as someone who's 43, we had a whole working society where people like left for work, went to the movie theaters, went to dinner, didn't even have an answering machine at home. Like they didn't even get messages, and we were just fine. And then when an answering machine happened, then people would come back after being gone for 10 hours and have some, messages. And now, like, we are available to everyone all day.
Yeah.
It's just not the way the world should work. So it has to come from us to like go back to that.
I should just carry around a pager. It's like just in case of emergency.
All right. Well, that was a fun little discussion. And we got some great calls lined up for you. Hope you guys enjoy them all. We certainly enjoy bringing them to you. Don't forget to send in those questions at AskNick@theViallFiles.com for all things Ask Nick, texting office hours, mediation. You know the drill. I think that's it. Let's get to our callers.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm all right. What's your name?
My name is Bethany, and I'm 35.
How can we help, Bethany?
I'm calling because I think my pilot husband had an emotional affair.
Him being a pilot, is that part of the story, or are we just...
Oh, it's part of the story for sure, because the person I think he had the emotional affair with was one of his co-pilots.
Do you think this emotional affair is over?
As of 2 weeks ago, yes, it is supposedly over.
Okay. Well, it's interesting the way you say it, because it almost sounds like you were able to confirm some things. So is he denying that the emotional affair ever happened?
No, he came to me and talked to me about what was going on. A little bit of like background on it is they started flying together probably about 6 months ago. And it's not super unusual to have a female co-pilot. Like it happens sometimes, but it's kind of a male dominated industry for the most part. But
which is changing rapidly, I think.
Yeah, it is changing rapidly. And I'm typically pretty chill. I'm not a jealous person. I'm usually like, yeah, whatever, it's cool, whatever. But something was just rubbing me the wrong way about their communication and their friendship. And I don't know, I kind of started speaking up to him about it. They were talking some outside of work. And at one point, it was on Christmas morning, she sent him a message being like, hey, we should plan something for the crew to do on New Year's. And I was kind of like, why are you texting my husband on Christmas morning about New Year's? It just felt off. Like
she asked him to hang out on New Year's?
Yeah, they were flying together. He had to work on New Year's.
Oh, yeah. And I guess a pilot's schedule is kind of like you travel with your crew, and you kind of you kind of shack up whatever city you kind of get laid over in, so to speak.
Yeah. And they had a long layover wherever they were going to be. So I don't know.
I feel like that industry is ripe for infidelity.
Yeah, it is. My husband actually says, oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. He says that the pilots say they have a syndrome called AIDS, which is airline induced divorce syndrome.
Oh. Okay. Well, they probably
there's
need
a really high divorce rate.
They probably need a new
yeah.
a new
it's not
acronym, maybe.
It's not the best acronym for sure.
Yeah.
It's a little, pretty tone deaf.
A little insensitive to an entire community.
An entire community,
yeah.
Yes.
Anywho, so he acknowledges the risks or the or what is going on. So, I mean, to be clear, he denies this has happened.
He doesn't deny it. He sees it a little bit differently than I do. So,
okay,
after they flew together, yeah.
Semantics. Great.
Yeah. It's very much semantics. They had a couple of months where they were repeatedly flying together, like 5 trips in a row.
Okay.
And in the airlines, that just doesn't happen. Like you're typically with a different crew almost every single time. And you can make special requests to fly with people. And typically if you fly with someone that many times in a row, it's because someone has made a special request. So his schedule came out and I could see that he was flying with her 5 trips in a row. And I'm like, hey, what is going on? Like,
were you that calm or were you like this motherfucking bitch?
It was probably more like this motherfucking bitch, like I was kind of like, I'm really uncomfortable with this. I'm really uncomfortable that you're going to be flying with her this much. And I'm not really sure how it happened. And he just, this whole time while it's going on, he's like, oh, you're just being jealous. You're just being insecure. Like there's really nothing going on. Like we're just friends. And I'm just glad that I finally have a friend and blah, 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 blah. But when he's home, he's telling me how funny she is and how smart she is and how accomplished she is and just like all their inside jokes that they have going on and all this different stuff.
What was your response to him calling you jealous and insecure?
I'm not jealous and insecure. I'm trying to raise red flags.
Is that what you said?
And that's what I said. And I told him.
Well, did you point out to him? It's just like, first of all, like, I'm just really, I would have loved for you to say something like, really hurtful for you to just come at me like that and make it about like me, regardless of what's going on. I'm voicing, my concerns about a pattern that, like, if you were in my shoes, I'm assuming you would have the same concerns. Not only that, is that you have told me about this really insensitive acronym that your entire industry has when it comes to like infidelity and cheating. And you're telling him you're uncomfortable with the situation and he's accusing you of being a certain way, like huge red flag, huge, like you could have been like, you're fucking cheating, blah, blah, blah. You didn't do that. You were like, hey, little weird. Like, I know this isn't normal. Not to mention, like, why the fuck is he coming home, like, praising her to you?
It's a great question. And, then that does start to cause insecurity, right? Like that becomes, okay, well, she seems like she's great, but I'm also great. Like I have a master's degree. I have a career that I worked really hard to get to. We have 2 small kids, and when he's gone, everything falls on me. The house falls on me, arranging childcare falls on me, getting kids to school, cooking, cleaning, everything falls on me. And so I'm just like, I think I'm pretty good,
Yeah. I'm sorry you have to convince yourself. I mean, not to convince yourself. It sounds like you believe that, but I'm sorry, it's not coming from anyone else but yourself. Where are we now?
Well, as of now, 2 weeks ago, he came home from their last trip that they had together. And he said, I'll call her Sarah. That's probably easier. That's not her name. He came home and he said, well, you'll be happy to know that I ended my friendship with Sarah. And I was like, immediate
did he say
red
it
flag,
did he say it like you this was your fault?
Sort of. Like it was kind of like for me, like I ended my friendship because you were uncomfortable with it kind of thing.
Like he said it almost in a resentful way.
Yeah, yes. And I was like,
and like,
I'm not dumb. Like something happened that made you have that conversation.
Yeah, you didn't do it for me.
No. And turns out that the reason why he did it was he went out with the entire crew, like flight attendants and her and everybody, and stayed out drinking until like 2:00 in the morning and had like 3 or 4 martinis and apparently was being flirtatious enough with her that the flight attendants were like, hey, what's going on between you guys? And he was like, nothing, we're just friends. And they didn't believe him.
How did you find this out? He told you?
He told me. He's told me everything. Like,
well,
he's been very, we typically have good communication. Like, he's in therapy. I'm in therapy.
Oh,
I'm also a therapist. So like, we just talk a lot. So he came forward about all this and was like, so we have playful banter. That was his term the whole time, this playful banter. And I was like, well, most people call that flirting. And he was like, yeah, I don't think I can deny that. So this conversation with the flight attendants made him upset enough that he had a conversation with her and decided to end their friendship. So
what's your gut tell you?
That's where we're at right now. That tells me that there's more feelings involved, you know?
Okay. Probably, maybe. I don't know. Do you think he's telling you the full truth? At this point,
question that. I question it.
Yeah.
I do, because more things, as time goes on and as we talk about it more, like more details are coming out about stuff. Like, he told me that on one of their trips, she was like, hey, look at this picture of my husband. It's so funny. I got him this gift and he wasn't thrilled about it. And it was a picture of her husband holding a copy of the Kama Sutra and with like this look of bewilderment on his face. And she was like, yeah, I got that for him because the stuff that's working in the bedroom isn't working anymore. And he's told me that, like, he told me about this conversation and I'm like, hello, like, is that not super inappropriate to be talking about with a coworker? You know, like,
what are the chances? Like, I don't know your husband, you know him, right? Is there a world in which this started fairly innocently and he was a little naive and then decided to stay naive? It seems pretty clear that you have a right to be upset. And it seems pretty clear that if you had like a camera on him the whole time and you got to watch every interaction that he had with her, that you'd have a right to be upset regardless. But is it possible that, sounds like, is it possible that she was the main instigator here and that your husband at first kind of looked the other way, like thought nothing of it, I'm not flirting with her, it started by him kind of, when someone is flirting with you and like you're in a relationship, you don't like, leave me alone, I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You're like, shut the, sometimes there's an awkwardness of like, yeah, sure, you laugh along with them and you're like, I'm not doing anything, I'm diffusing an awkward situation. And is there a world where maybe like it kind of escalated to the point where it definitely got to a point of inappropriateness, but maybe he never really was the instigator, nothing really happened, and then this night out when they all got drunk and these other flight attendants approached him, he kind of like felt like, I'm flying too close to the sun here, and I have my wife suspecting things. Now other people are observing me. You know what? Like, I can't kid myself anymore. This is getting inappropriate and I'm going to, yada, yada, yada. Is there a world where that happened? Could you believe that? Or does that seem too... Am I making sense? Like we're at the end of the day, yeah, he fucked up. Yeah, there's some, like even the way he handled how you approached it was uncalled for and disappointing and definitely a red flag. But is there a world where that's all that happened, where what he's guilty of most is maybe flirting back, but not necessarily meant it to be flirting, where maybe he didn't want to fuck her, things like that, but like he thought she was a charming, good colleague, and then she just took it the wrong way and she kept leaning in and he kept being like, no, we're just friends, no, we're just friends, and now it's like, oh fuck, like people think we want to fuck, and then he kind of shut it down. Or do you think that something else happened bigger and you're getting this bullshit story that's 25% true and 75% like he's leaving out, a bunch of other shit.
Right. I do think it started out innocently. I do think that he's always been more comfortable around women, like he's just kind of got that personality where he just, I don't know, gets along with women better. And so I don't think that it started out with bad intentions. I do know, though, that at a certain point, he recognized that he was getting stuff from their friendship that he wasn't getting from his relationship with me. And he told me that.
Like what?
He told me that in the middle of our conversation, like basically that he's like, we have so much fun together. And, it felt good to have someone to talk to. And I'm like, I thought that we talked a lot. I thought that we had fun together. I thought that we were in a good place. And, and he was just like, yeah, she was fulfilling things that I need that I'm not getting from you.
Such as what?
He's not been super clear on that. Just
mostly. I could guess, what's unfortunate in for any long-term committed relationship, any marriage, any relationship with kids, it's a fucking grind. There's work involved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing what she offered him was a breath of fresh air, something new. Yeah. Someone who could just like carelessly joke around about work and things like that. She didn't come with any responsibility or expectations of him, where you're like, hey, I know you've been gone for 3 days, but I've been with the kids by myself for 3 days. And I know you want to kick up your feet and chill, but like, can you fucking help out, and shit like that. And she's just always like, you look so good in your uniform, like,
yeah.
And listen, that is something that every married couple or relationship has to deal with. Like that's the scary part about any committed relationship is that, everyone else that our partners meet can offer them something we can't, because we will, never be able to offer them something new, we'll never be able to offer them a change of pace, so to speak. Something that's just, I don't know what it is. It's just different, like that kind of, which we all kind of crave sometimes, life can get monotonous. No, life can get boring and routine and regular and sometimes we as couples, I'm sure you both have taken each other for granted at times. I'm sure you both could have made the other person feel more appreciated at times. Like this is literally every fucking relationship. You know what I'm saying? And some people will find that in other people, coworkers and friends and things like that. And then instead of, dealing with their shit, they'll, so it's just like, he's probably telling the truth, but it's just really hurtful. That's just like, without him being specific, I can guess with the level, I think, of accuracy of what she's offering him, which is literally just like something different.
Yeah. And that's totally fair. And, I get that. Like life does get hard having 2 little kids. Yeah. It's chaos, they're all over the place and stuff like that. I don't know. He originally was pretty apologetic about it. And then as the couple of weeks have gone by, like the conversation has turned more towards like, well, you don't keep up the house enough when I'm gone, or
excuse me,
you don't. Yeah, I know. Or, I feel like I don't, when I come home, it's a mess. And like, we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, like there's going to be a mess. But our house is not that messy. It's like messy to his standards. And also I work full time. I'm gone a lot while he's gone too. And I just, there's not a lot.
Is he normally a prick? Is this a new prick?
We've had a lot of arguments in the past about housework and stuff, because we're just very different in how he doesn't expect me to do everything, but at the same time, there's random things that he sometimes is like, he picks and chooses. Like he's like, the laundry never gets done. Well,
fucking do it.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly.
If
I know you're another adult that lives in this house, maybe not full time, but you're still here. And I'm sorry that you have to spend your off days doing laundry, but I have to spend my off days solo parenting,
So what can I help out with?
I really needed just some, like, I guess some perspective on, like, is this, you've already said that, I have a right to be upset about it. In my mind, I call this an emotional affair. I don't know if every man would look at it that way or not. So I'm
I
would curious. Like,
I think the label is kind of a moot point. Not moot point might be the wrong word. I guess I wouldn't spend a lot of energy convincing yourself and then trying to convince him to admit to an emotional affair. I mean, maybe it might come to that. But what I'm hearing is clearly there's a disconnect between the two of you. I don't know what happened with her. Something happened. He's acknowledged as much. He might be projecting some guilt and frustrations, trying to make you feel like the bad. There's a lot of, it sounds like a lot of that, where he's coming at you because like he's trying to shift the blame because he feels guilty. People do that all the fucking time. But something's going on, and, I guess you got to ask yourself, I'm getting the vibe from you that you believe that, he didn't fuck her, so to speak, or that there was no physical cheating. And I'm getting the vibe from you that whatever did happen, you're willing to accept and forgive. Would that be accurate? So knowing,
that's fair.
So knowing that, not, it comes down to trying to reconnect with your husband, trying to get on the same page, trying to figure out, like, I don't know what happened, but something happened. It's affecting us. It's affecting me. It's affecting you. I don't really like how you've been treating me recently. I just don't feel like we are as connected. Quite honestly, it's hurtful to hear about you admitting that you got your needs met by some other woman. Imagine how that might make me feel, like, and saying something like, listen, I don't know what happened, but like, you just have to ask yourself that if I did everything you did, whatever it is that you did, and if I had some other guy, meet my needs in ways that you haven't been, how would that make you feel? I don't know. Like, you know the truth. I don't. You know every little detail of what happened between the two of you. I just have to trust you. And you just have to ask yourself, like, how would you feel if it was the other way around? Obviously, you guys are pro therapy, like couples therapy. Is that in the mix for you guys? Like, your individual therapy, but like, this sounds like, a reconnecting needs to happen. Like, maybe you guys use this as an opportunity to say, hey, listen, let's not point fingers here, but like, what do we want to do? Like, hey, let's check in. Like, you seem like I'm getting like vibes of resentment. I'm getting vibes of frustration and hostility towards me. Like, meanwhile, like, I'm just trying to figure out whether you like want to be with me, or you want to like, are you out there shopping around for a new girlfriend? Like, do you want to be with me? Do you want to make this, like, we're at a bump in a road in our marriage, happens to maybe every fucking marriage. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons for us to, there's a lot of, you could almost like offer each other grace. Listen, you're busy. I'm busy. We have 2 young kids. There are a lot of reasons for us to like feel disconnected. That's maybe no one's fault other than like, hey, life is hard. But do we want to make this work or not? Like, where do we go from here? Kind of make it about the relationship rather than coming at him. Because I feel like what you guys need to do is, whether it's in couples therapy or just, you guys using individual therapy, I don't know. You need to kind of decide whether you want to come together or not. And if by coming together, you have to acknowledge that maybe there needs to be some healing and some work done, maybe some honest conversations about, maybe there's a venting session. Well, you never fucking do this, and well, you never fucking do that. And meanwhile, it's like, yes, fine. You know what? I did flirt with her and I'm really sorry and blah, blah, blah. And like, maybe some truths will come out, hopefully all of them, which you'll be able to forgive. But this is all for the point of figuring out how can we heal and rebuild the relationship. Because it doesn't sound like you're trying to figure out, if you need to divorce your husband or break up with him. It's like you want to, I'm not saying the truth doesn't matter. I think to get to the truth, the goal needs to be to where do we go from here? How do we reconnect? Do you want to reconnect? Is he committed as you are to fixing this marriage? you know, but there needs to be an acknowledgement that right now you guys are not connected. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of frustration. There's hostility. And I'm not trying to point fingers here, but what I want to do is get back to a healthier state of our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, we're in the process of finding a couples therapist and hopefully getting on it. I think we're both committed to it. I'm nervous. I'm nervous that, you know, my feelings about this whole situation are going to make me, you know, worried for a long time about what he's doing when he's gone. And that was not something that I ever worried about before. So,
yeah,
you know, which of course is some of my own stuff that I just have to work through. And
yes and no. I mean, your husband does live in an industry where it's very easy and convenient to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the most righteous people, you put yourself in a bad situation. Yeah, I always like to use food analogies, but I'm really good at not eating sugar when there's no sugar around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And when I'm like surrounded by it, you know, temptation is, well, it's temptation. You know, it eventually eventually gets you. It gets everyone. Part of, you know, maintaining your character and making good choices is about avoiding tough situations. Well, unfortunately, your husband is, the nature of the business is you're often working with people, you know, that you're away from your family a lot. You're overnight. It's an industry that, you know, surprisingly, it seems like a lot of pilots are heavy drinkers.
Yeah, they are.
Which is, you know, a bit concerning for the rest of us, but
yeah.
yeah, but like, yeah, they, you know, they go out, they're in some like random fucking city. What do? They go out to the fucking bars, they hang out, you know, and they drink with their colleagues and they catch up. And anytime, you know, so like all it takes, you know, is two people. This probably, you know, it started again, probably innocently. Here's this female co-pilot, this woman co-pilot who's, you know, husband's not fucking her the way that she wants, you know, type of thing, you know, rolled her eyes. You know, my guess is like she bought this book for her husband trying to spice things up. And he did the thing that a lot of guys do when, you know, when women in relationships, you know, make an effort to try to reconnect, they roll their eyes and like make their woman, you know, partners feel stupid for trying. This is fucking, you know, the men will let their insecurities shine, unfortunately. And like, oh, a book about Kama Sutra? We don't fucking need that. My dick's big enough, you know? Like, I don't know, whatever it is. And like, and then she felt like a little like dismissed and like, you know, she put all this effort in and then here she is as, you know, this male pilot and she's just kind of venting and he listens and she feels heard and seen and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that hard to, you know, it takes a couple, like a little spark, a little gasoline and all of a sudden you have a flame, you know, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you have the right to feel how, you know, like I wouldn't spend a lot of time be like, well, I used to never worry and now I do, you know, like,
okay. Yeah.
Maybe you were just a little naive. Unfortunately, your husband works in unfortunately, I guess my point is, unfortunately, your husband works in an industry where you always have a right, you should always be on some kind of, yeah, I don't think you want to live anxiously constantly and always be afraid, but like, you know, there's the difference between, and I've had to learn this the hard way. I've always prided myself in being the trusting partner. You know, I choose to trust, and I do. You know, like I don't go through people's phones. I just don't have it in me. Like it's just like I'd rather just not go through your phone. You know, because like the exercise of going through it already feels fucked. You know. That being said, you know, and I've used this analogy before. It's just kind of like when things don't make sense, you need to speak up. You can't just be like, well, my partner would never, you know. It's just like, hey, you know, me and the girls are going to go to this volleyball game, you know. And it's just like, oh, cool. I have fun. Who's going to be there? Well, it's like, and then you find out it's a bunch of dudes. You're just like, well, why am I not invited? You know, it's like, oh, well, you know, you don't like volleyball. It's like, I don't really have an opinion about volleyball, but like, yeah, I would play. It's like, is it co-ed or is this like a super serious, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, why am I not invited? You know, type of thing, you know? And so, you know, like this is not the best analogy in your case, but like, there's one thing to trust your partner. And there's another thing of like just recognizing that your husband works in an industry that will always offer up temptation. So it's just good to check in and stay connected. And I don't know what how do you guys stay connected when he's on the road?
Yeah, we usually try to talk on the phone once or twice a day.
But is it always like, hey, how's it going? What's going up with the kids? Is it always about like what needs to get done and just, you guys need to set it outside some like alone time,
Yeah. It usually is about
do you send nudes?
Hey, no.
Well, just saying.
I know. Okay.
Well, listen, I that's I don't want you to feel like you have to do that now, but I'm just saying,
couldn't hurt.
Nudes in a relationship when there's distance involved are a great way to keep someone missing you and looking forward to coming home and seeing you,
Yeah.
Spice things up. So yeah, listen, I think you just need to talk. I think when he overreacts and says hurtful things, it's really, really important for you to remain calm.
Okay.
It's really important for you to take that breath and be like, listen, that's hurtful. I don't know why you're saying what you're saying. And you got to be careful not to try to throw out jabs and accusations.
Yeah.
You can't, like I said, we're only human, but as you know, I mean, you're the therapist. That's just gonna trigger each other,
Yeah.
So I know easier said than done, but get in that couples therapy and kind of find that recommitment. But like, and my hope is that there will there's probably more truths to come out. But I think he needs to first acknowledge and maybe apologize for how and maybe he has already. I don't know. Has he acknowledged that like calling you these things was quite hurtful, or just the way he's talking to you right now? Like, where's again? I will like when he talks that way, instead of getting mad and defensive, like from my point of view, it's just like, okay, well, first of all, like, where's this coming from? This sounds a little this sounds hostile. Like, why are you coming at me all of a sudden? Like, maybe I could like. But like this seems like you're coming at me for a reason. Where's this coming from? Well, I'm just like, well, okay. Like, do you miss her that much, man? Like, I'm,
Right.
Yeah. I didn't, and like anytime he implies that somehow he had to give up this friendship for you, it's like, I would, again, try to remain calm. It's like, no, clearly you didn't. I voiced my concerns about this friendship. You tried to defend that friendship and you weren't willing to give it up for me. You were only willing to give it up when you got called out by a work colleague. So let's not pretend that you did this for me. You did this because you either A, finally woke up and saw what I've been seeing, or B, you're just kind of covering your ass because you don't want to, have rumors be spread around that, you're fucking your coworker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. That helps. That helps me have a little bit of an idea of like how to approach it in the future. Cause it's not a one conversation and done kind of thing. We're going to have to keep talking about it. And I have to have some way to respond that isn't just like getting pissed off and like or crying.
Which is understandable and human. But I think that you got to lead with, listen, this has been really hard on me and I still love you. And I'm committed to us. I hope you still are. But like, this has been a really hurtful experience. You have done and said some things that like made me, like quite honestly, make me feel like make me question your love for me or your commitment to me. And I hate feeling this way. Instead of saying you did this, just be like, I now feel like further away from you. I don't know how you feel about me anymore. I don't know how I could, like, I hope I can trust you, but like, you're really making it difficult for me. And on top of that, like now you're questioning me as a mother, you're questioning how much effort I put in this relationship. You're coming at me for what the house looks like. Meanwhile, like you're openly telling me about a late night out at the bars, getting drunk. I don't remember the last time I had a chance to go out and get drunk with my friends.
Right.
So maybe point out the obvious,
Mm-hmm.
but you really got to do it calmly. That's the trick, which I know is really easier said than done.
Oh gosh.
But it's really about trying to like come together,
Yeah.
And you got to play the whole like, aw shucks, like I'm hurting. Well, which is true, rather than, because when you get mad and angry and defensive, it just gives him an excuse to come back at you. I'm just really sad. I'm sad. Yeah. I'm sad because I feel like my husband is, going through something, and instead of coming to me for that, he is seeking out help in other places. And that's, I don't know. I'm sad.
Yeah.
I think sadness and hurt is more effective than anger.
That is true. I wish it wasn't so easy to get angry.
I hear you. Well, I mean, I don't know. If I were you, I'd be pretty sad about this situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been sad about it.
Yeah.
I do a good job sometimes of compartmentalizing things and keeping it off to the side so that I can keep on like living my life and doing things. I'm going to have to take some time to feel the sadness and let myself grieve some of this and know that that's okay to do that. So.
For sure. Well, I'd love to talk to you both at the same time. No one ever takes me up on that. Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, we're here. I'm sorry you're going through this. It sucks.
Thank you so much.
But try to, if it's clear that you want to make this work. So acknowledge the disconnect and see if you guys can mutually agree to reconnect. I think it's, when you break it all down, that's what you need. That's the next step. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And get a commitment from the both of you of saying, you know what, we're not on the same page. We've both done and said some things that maybe the other person didn't deserve, but we want to make this work, and we're both willing to do what it takes, and then go from there. And that's not, that doesn't end the healing process. Again, you might have a long road of some couples therapy and some acknowledgments and some owning up to some things, and some of those sessions might, be hurtful, but like the goal is hopefully to always feel a little bit more connected and safer with your partner at the end of each session, and go from there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, we would love an update. And again, if you guys want to call in together, I certainly will, share my thoughts to him.
Okay. All right.
Be like, what the fuck, dude? What do you expect, man?
Right.
Be like, yeah, maybe go out and flirt with some dudes at the bar. I'm kidding. But I do think, I don't know if you have used this line with him yet, but like, it's simply just like, again, I don't even need to know. You don't have to tell me. Close your eyes. Think of everything you did with her. You only have to face yourself. And if the roles were reversed, how would you feel if I did whatever you did? If I did exactly what you did, how would you feel?
No, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Make it less about him having to tell me all the details and more about him having to think about his actions and,
It says like even if you can say to him like, I'm just going to go ahead and believe you because I have no other choice. But even still, think about if the roles were reversed and, I was gone constantly and I had a male coworker that was hitting me up and asking me to hang out. Then other people thought something was going on. What kind of ideas would that plant in your head? How would that make you feel? Would you be would you handle like, what would you think?
I'd be interested to hear what he has to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep us posted. We were definitely interested to see where this goes.
Okay. Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
ShipStation, all you small business owners out there looking to improve your business, look no further than ShipStation. If you are running a business where you are shipping your products to your customers and you are not using ShipStation, then what are you doing? Well, I can tell you what you're doing. You are overspending on shipping. ShipStation is helping companies save thousands on shipping with discounts up to 89% off UPS, DHL Express, and SPS rates. ShipStation is really just the lifeline of any small business, or really all businesses. They grow with your company. It gives your small business the ability to have the same shipping discounts reserved for those larger companies. In addition to that, it gives you better analytics on your shipping so you can offer better customer service. It also seamlessly integrates with almost all e-commerce platforms like Shopify. It is super easy to use and will enhance your customer service experience, all while saving you money along the way. So grab yourself a 60-day free trial of ShipStation, and you can be like over 130,000 other companies that have grown their e-commerce business with ShipStation, and be part of the 98% of companies that have stuck with ShipStation for life after using it for a year. It's incredible. They certainly have a track record of success. Get a 60-day free trial today by going to www.shipstation.com/VIALL. Thanks to ShipStation for sponsoring the show. Go to shipstation.com and use code Viall Files to sign up for a free 60-day trial. That's shipstation.com, code Viall Files. Shipstation.com, hard to say, easy to use. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. Why? Hinge gives you a sense of someone's personality and lets you share your own. You get to know potential dates through their unique answers to their prompts, plus get a sense of someone's dating intentions. You've heard Leia talk about some of the success stories that her loved ones and family and friends have found on Hinge. Allie is on Hinge as well. Again, those prompts, we always talk about first dates and talking to someone and just getting the conversation going. When you're dating, it's all about trying to get to know each other, and you do that through questions. And we understand it can be nervous. What do you ask these people? You don't want to be too personal. Well, let Hinge do the hard work of coming up with some of these very kind of easy but direct prompts that gets the conversation going and helps two people connect in ways that maybe want them to lead an app, because that's what it's all about.
Well, I have exciting news, everyone, because
you're in
I
love.
am
You're
going
married.
on a date on Sunday.
Oh my God.
With a man I met on Hinge. Yes. I will keep you all updated.
What was his prompt that intrigued you?
Well, he had a poll on there and he was like, pick your favorite show of all time, which was kind of like a fun little way to start like playing a little game.
Congrats. Excited.
We're
Thanks
excited to hear about your date.
Allie is going to find love. On Hinge, there are no rules, timers, or games. If you're feeling inspired, give Hinge a try. Download Hinge today and find someone worth deleting the app for. How's it going?
Hi, my name is Jamie and I'm 34. So I just reconnected with my biological father, and his wife hates me.
Okay. How long ago did you reconnect with your biological father?
I got in touch with him for the first time in January of 2023.
What made you reconnect after all these years?
Really just curiosity, honestly. I met my biological mom when I was 18, and we've had a really wonderful relationship.
Were you given up for adoption? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was adopted when I was 3 days old.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And were your biological parents ever together?
No. My dad at the time was in the Navy, and he was getting ready to leave on a contract, I think, for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically felt like my mom had made the choice for them, that she was going to follow through with adoption. She had actually already given up one other child for adoption prior to me.
Oh.
And so he ended up signing over his rights. So he knew that there was a baby out there, but he didn't know if I was a boy or a girl or when I was born.
He literally knew nothing about you.
Yeah. No, he knew nothing about me.
Wow. And you reconnected with your biological mother when?
I was 18.
Okay. What's your relationship like with your adopted parents these days?
Great, wonderful. They were always very open and honest about the adoption, and really had only wonderful things to say about my biological mom. They had really no, obviously, input on my biological dad because they didn't know anything about him either. But it was always a very open discussion and conversation in our household.
How did you find him?
The story gets a little crazier, honestly.
We love a crazy story.
The adoption was never fully finalized. And when we lost my birth certificate, like along the way, this is crazy, actually. We lost my birth certificate like along the way somehow. And I couldn't go to college without like proper identification. I couldn't get my driver's license. Like there was a lot of things that I couldn't do without my original birth certificate. So when I was 18, I tried to request it myself. And the department of whoever was like, yeah, your social security isn't matching up with who you say you are. And so we had no choice but to contact my biological mom, and we had her social security. So we had some friends that helped us locate her.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Like,
there's a lot more background, but I won't take up.
Were you like, how did that, like, were you like a citizen of the United States? So, like, did you not exist on paper? Like, were you know?
I did. I don't know why they couldn't like verify me, but
I'm
as soon as
surprised the
my
CIA didn't recruit you, you know? Like, it's
I
like,
know,
oh,
no, seriously.
she's got no identity, you know?
As soon as my mom got involved, she was able to request the documentation that I needed to go to college, and then from that point, we started emailing and then phone calls, and then we've had a wonderful relationship.
Wonderful. That's so nice to hear.
Since then, so.
And then how did we get in touch with Dad later on?
Well, I had always been curious. I've been on and off Ancestry, and my sister was talking about her ancestry, and I just got curious again. And thought,
is your sister also adopted, or is she?
No, these were like the two sisters that my parents had naturally before they adopted me.
Gotcha.
So I just got curious. So I decided to hop back on Ancestry and see if I had any new matches. And I did have a new match on the paternal side, which I didn't have that many to begin with. And she looked young and she looked like she was my age. So I thought, let's just find her on Facebook and see if she knows anything. And I did. This was like a Friday evening, like 7:00. By 11 p.m. that night, I had gotten in touch with her, asked her if she had anyone in her family with his first and last name. She said that she did. And by that evening, it had come full circle, and he had received information that I was looking for him.
Who was the girl you talked to?
Like my third cousin or something.
Oh.
Like not anyone really even, I think.
So did she really even know who your biological father was? Or how did she?
Sort of, yeah. She actually has a really close relationship with my biological aunt. Our dads are like first cousins.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what that makes us.
And so what? Like she quickly emailed your aunt or something who emailed him, and by that
night, yeah, the circle had been completed. Yeah.
And then who reached out to who?
He reached out to me, I think on Sunday evening. He texted me and we set up a phone call for the following Monday morning.
What did that first text say?
Oh gosh, I'll have to look it up. I'm sure it was something like, I'm your dad. nice to meet you, or something along those lines.
Can you find it?
Yeah, I can find it. We don't text that often, so it shouldn't take me too long to scroll back. But coincidentally, that was like January 17th, maybe. And coincidentally, I was going to
this year.
Last January.
Okay.
2023. Yeah. Coincidentally, I was going to his city for work in like 2 weeks after that. And so we kind of set up a time to meet in between my work meetings and stuff. January 9th, he said, oh, wait, no, I don't have the original message. This message is just him letting me know he's running behind and that he would call me shortly.
Oh, but from what you remember, it was kind of like him reaching out and saying, hey, I'm your dad.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I heard.
So it was generally a kind and welcoming message.
Definitely. He's certainly very kind, very warm to, opening to meeting me. We had a really great first meeting. We just met at like a bar around the corner from where I was. It's just ironic because where we were having dinner for my work evening program or whatever was a restaurant that he like used to work at. So it's just very strange that I happen to be not only in the state, but so close to where he like worked and
it's not
lived.
That I know. I get that it feels strange to you because it's like you went your whole life without knowing who he was. But like when you think about it, I don't know what you believe, but it makes a lot of sense that you were closer than you realized. He's your biological father, and in part of this community, and so it's not that crazy. So you met up, and like, how did that first meeting go?
It was great. I mean, it's always really shocking. This is my third time meeting a biological family member, so I feel like I'm like kind of a pro at it now. But
who was the other one?
Very shocking. I found a brother I didn't know about.
Who? Was that the first child your mom gave up for adoption?
Yeah, she didn't tell anyone about that until he came knocking on my ancestry doorstep as well.
He reached out to you.
Yeah.
Okay. How's that relationship with him now these days?
Oh, not good. That should be like another Viall Files episode because that didn't go well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is he struggling in life?
Yeah, I think
How did things leave after your first interaction with your dad?
It was great. We had a lot to talk about, and I left feeling happy and excited, and he dropped me off at my hotel, and I remember him like kissing the top of my head. It just made me feel like a small child again, and it was just like a nice moment. I don't know, it was just like a nice moment.
And what did he, and like what I'm curious, I'm fascinated. Like what did he, when you met up, like, I mean, listen, like how old was he when he had you or when you were born?
They were like 20 probably.
Yeah. So like, he must be feeling all these sorts of emotions, but like, what did he, like, I guess what was he sharing? Like, what did he?
I think the overarching like theme of our meeting was just like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe you kind of look like me. And he never really knew what had happened either.
Like, he didn't even know you were a boy or a girl, like you said. That's kind of nuts.
Yeah. So I got to share a lot of stories with him in terms of like the perspective from the other side of the street and how everything played out. So there was a lot of information just to share in general. And he brought some pictures with him, which was really nice. And we talked about his kids and we talked about my kid. And it was just really nice. And like I said, I left feeling like really hopeful and excited. And it was a very like loving interaction.
Okay. And then what happened after that? Like
we stayed in touch. We texted, we called. I had plans. So that was in January, and I had plans to see him again in August. I had to go back to his city for work. So it was kind of like, okay, this will be great. We have like something else now to look forward to, another time that we can get together. And I just wanted to give him time to like process all of this. He had never shared this information with his wife.
Okay, that was my next question.
So she never knew until I came back into the picture, and he had to be like, hey.
That's what I suspected. And by the way, before we, she doesn't hate you at all.
No.
She's so mad. She's mad at the situation. She hates him a little bit right now. She's upset with the situation. It completely, it completely rewrote, her view on her family.
Right.
And I don't know who she is, and I don't know how like traditional or set in her ways, or but she hates. She definitely does. She doesn't appreciate your existence, which is a weird thing to say. But it's not you. It's not. It has nothing to do with you. She's just so mad at the situation. Her picture perfect life, and who even knows how perfect it was, but like her marriage of 25 years. How many kids did they have together?
3.
They had 3 kids together, and all of a sudden, this is it must feel like a really huge lie to her.
Absolutely. And that's why, so it's been a year and some change, right, since we've met. They still haven't told their kids.
Okay.
And I feel like I've just been giving them space to process this.
Have you ever reached out to her?
No, I haven't reached out to her personally. I just feel like, if I was in her shoes, I don't know how I would feel if my husband of 25 years came to me and said, oh, our oldest child isn't actually our firstborn. I had another daughter already. And I'm sure that's a lot to process. And I'm sure she has her own feelings about it. Yeah. So I don't want to pressure anyone to like meet me or have to do something because I'm like, hey, I'm here. Let's have a relationship.
What was the what have you communicated about with your biological father? Like in these past, the few times you do text?
Just, hey, what'd you do this weekend? What's going on? He'll talk about the kids. Oh, the kids are home from college. We're going to do this, or I'm going to my daughter's dance recital, or, just normal.
How old are his kids?
14, and then the older 2 are in college age.
How old is he? Probably in his 50s?
Yeah.
So he's not that old.
No.
He's a pretty young guy. No. Have you asked him about clearly he's communicated to you that he still hasn't told his kids. Did that come with a request of you respecting some boundaries so that they don't find out?
There's not been any requests. The only thing he's ever said was we joked about something being posted on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, I really wanted to respond to that, but I didn't. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm glad that you didn't. But he's never flat out been like, don't contact my children, don't post this, don't post that. He's never asked me to do anything or not do anything.
That's okay.
But I've also not, that's where I'm starting to like, that's why I reached out to you, because I am getting to a point where at what point do I say, like, the last conversation I had with him, it was a great convo. And then of course the last 5 minutes, it was like, hey, so I basically communicated to him, this doesn't feel realistic for you and I to continue to build this relationship if your wife and your kids are not going to be on board and involved. That doesn't feel, I'm not going to stay like a hidden sibling for the rest of my life.
What did he say?
He was like, no, I get that and I understand. And, my wife she's just really still trying to process this information. And that's all I really said. I didn't put any parameters around that. And I'm thinking about the next conversation I want to have with him and maybe putting some boundaries in place of, let's put a goal, by the end of this year, maybe we could transition to a family meeting, or maybe we could have dinner together, or he tried to facilitate a dinner. Like I said, I was supposed to go to his city in August, and he wanted the three of us, his wife, me, and himself, to have dinner together. And he told me that his wife would not have come to dinner. He basically said, well, she did have plans before that, but I feel like this dinner trumped any plans she would have had anyways, but she wasn't planning on coming.
She's just not ready. She's not ready.
Yeah. And that is fine. That is okay. It has only been a year.
Yeah.
Not that long of time.
That's what I was kind of going to say. It's like you waited this long. I wouldn't push it. You sound like just a really sweet person and understanding and empathetic and patient. And like, you didn't ask for any of this. This is like the life that you were given, as a 3-day-old child, and here you are having to deal with all this kind of emotional reconnecting that like you didn't even, I don't know what it's like to be in your shoes, but I guess my overwhelm, like if I met you in an elevator and you told me and I had 30 seconds to give you like my 2 cents would be like, just be patient. It sounds like overall there's a lot of positivity here, like the fact that your biological father, I got to assume him reaching out to you first must have felt so much better than you having to reach out to say, hey, I'm your kid. And him kind of playing the father role of like, hey, it's my responsibility to let you know, hey, I'm your dad and I'm here and let's meet up. And he brought some pictures, immediately must have made you feel somewhat accepted versus not even sure if he wanted any. I mean, I'm guessing when you first found out, like this motherfucker might just pretend I'm not his dad or I'm not his daughter, like short of like me forcing some sort of paternity test, like he's just going to deny. That was an option.
Absolutely. And you never know what you're going to get in that situation.
So I think one, I'm hearing like there's your adopted parents still in the picture, right? You have this positive relationship with him?
Yeah, with my dad. My mom passed away a couple years ago, but
I'm sorry to hear that. And how's that relationship changed, if at all, since for instance, your biological father has entered the chat?
I don't think it's changed at all. He's always been so supportive and encouraging of me having a relationship with my biological family.
Okay.
He's wonderful.
Yeah. I guess my advice right now is to lean into your adopted father, whatever because there must be a sense, and I'm just guessing here, having no idea how to relate to you, but there's got to be some sense of desire to further this relationship with your biological father, which I totally get. And obviously, as you know, like just there's other people to deal with, there's other emotions. And so you unfortunately can't go at the pace that you wish you could. And maybe your biological father as well.
Right.
And I just think that desire for connection in general, I would use that to just further evolve and build your relationship with your adopted father. Like whatever your biological father can't give you, like I know a place that you can get it. You can get it from your adopted father to some degree. I know that, I guess all I'm saying is like, I can completely understand and empathize with this desire to move things forward and like to set, hey, next time I talk to my adopted father, I'm going to kind of throw out there like, hey, what about this? And the last time you talked, you kind of, set like a mini boundary, like a future expectation of like, I don't know if I can keep doing this if you're not going to kind of acknowledge that I exist to your kids and your wife, which makes a lot of sense, but that's coming from a place of like urgency,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like wondering if like channel that energy into like hanging out with dad, so that you can continue to be patient because, you waited 30 some years to find out about your biological father, and what's a few more months or another year or two to let, his wife just accept, she just needs to accept that you exist, and she just hasn't yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably some denial going on here, and I can appreciate where she's coming from. She has a lot of reasons to be upset with your dad.
Yeah.
And I can get where your dad's coming from. Here's a 20-year-old man, joined the fucking Navy, got knocked up this probably girl he knew nothing about, and so, it's just like he didn't even know your gender. So he knew, and so it was so easy for him to just out of sight, out of mind, start over. And one of those things where it's just like, well, I'm not gonna. Why tell her? I don't even like. For all he knew, your mom decided not to go through the pregnancy.
Right.
So, hey, I knocked up a girl that I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I have a kid. That was the truth. He had to decide whether to tell but the fact that you do exist, his wife is kind of like, it's just she sees it as a lie.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I also think about like, well, I definitely don't think I'm owed anything at all from them. But it also is like, well, what about my siblings? Like, I want to meet them. I want to have an opportunity to have a relationship with them. It doesn't feel right for me to reach out to them. That doesn't feel okay. And I certainly think that, maybe I just need more. They need more time. But I guess it's like, at what point is it like 5 years, 10 years, and I'm just still hanging around? At some point it's
fair question, and I don't have an answer.
Sure.
I do feel like 1 year, you can still wait.
Yeah. Well, and a part of me too, and my husband pushes this often just because he obviously wants to protect and care for me. But he's like, I don't understand why they wouldn't want to meet you. Like, you're wonderful.
They don't know you exist.
Yeah. Well, he's saying his wife, my dad's wife.
Well, I can think of a million reasons why she doesn't want to meet you. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I think before you, whatever your timeline is, you should, before you do anything with the kids, you need to connect with her.
Oh, absolutely. And I would never go around them and do that. It just,
listen, I think it's like next time you talk to your biological father, you just check in with him. Be like, just one is always you say like, I just got to say, lead with love type of thing. You always hear me say shit like that. It's just like, can I just say like, I was really nervous about meeting you. I met my biological brother. Things didn't go that way. It could have gone a million different ways. And I'm just like, so glad that like you are the person that you are and that you've been so like welcoming and open to having a relationship with me. And so like, it means a lot. And so thank you, and empathize with him. I'm sure you're probably, I probably, not me knocking on your door metaphorically, like probably put an unexpected turn in your life, and it would probably have been easier for you to just deny me than accept me. And so like, honestly, thank you. And so start with that. And then after that, kind of say like, but I'm still hoping that we can further this relationship. And I want to acknowledge that this must be really difficult for your wife. And I want to go at your pace, but I'm still hopeful that you and I can build a relationship, and I just kind of want to check in and see what that looks like. And then he can kind of give you the 411 on like what that does look like, where she's at. And depending on what he says, you could be like, well, is there a world where like, would she be open to me like writing her a letter, or, and that letter could, more than anything, you empathizing with her. Like, listen, hey, I just want to, I know you don't know who I am and we haven't met, and and I want to apologize for whatever inconvenience me reaching out did. But like, I'm hoping that maybe down the road or whenever there's a comfort level that I can connect with you, because it does mean a lot. It sounds like, whatever your biological father's name is, sounds like you got a really great husband in Dan. And, I'm really glad that he was able to find someone like you to give him a really happy life. And it sounds like you have a great family. I hope to like someday, connect with you guys. I don't want to disrupt whatever happiness that you guys have. You know what I'm saying? Like really try to empathize with her. And it's almost like you're writing a letter as like of a girlfriend of hers. Like you write the letter not as the adopted child, but like if you had a girlfriend who came to you who was like, I just found out my husband had a kid from 20 years ago. What do I do? And all you're thinking is, I just need to empathize with her and like listen, girl to girl, just like girl vent to me, tell me how you're feeling, like everything, your feelings are valid, like, so I think you have to validate her feelings and then kind of not, just kind of like, and then you validate her feelings and then offer some hope, of what you hope to happen without pushing, something like that, if that makes sense.
No, honestly, I think that's a really great idea, and I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah. But give it some time. Yeah. Like I understand the urgency, and I don't know if it's 5 or 10 years, but yeah, probably not 10, probably closer to 5, of like, because after you reach out to her, check in with your dad first. Step 1, whenever you talk to your dad next, let him know that like, hey, thanks. This has gone better than I hoped. It could have gone a million different ways. And so I appreciate this. And and then I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful we can build on this. And then maybe you could say like, listen, I know that I think maybe you want to pull back from that boundary you tried to set where you're like, hey, listen, if you're not going to incorporate me, then maybe we can't have a relationship. And he was understanding. You could say, listen, I said that because I'm just like really anxious to like, build my connections and things like that. But like, I understand where this is coming from. So like, just know that I can be patient, but I'm just hoping that this grows.
Sure.
And then maybe that will allow him to say, no, but I do understand where you're coming from, but I appreciate you understanding where I'm coming from. Like the more chill you are and the more, because I got to imagine like anyone who reconnects with like an estranged family member, like if you experience with your brother, it's like, I mean, yeah, they're family, but they might not be normal. They might not even be safe,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, your adopted child who's getting over, you're going to let this crazy girl into our family. And she's, like that, those are legitimate fears, And so the more empathetic and more understanding and mature that you go about this, it's going to, make it hard for them to deny you by how like emotionally mature you are, and patient and you lead with love and stuff like that. That, I don't know that I honestly, I hope this is helpful because I'm kind of like, I'm obviously speaking out of turn.
No, I think this is helpful because the people in my life who, love me, they're like, well, you're the daughter. What do you mean? They should be welcoming you with open arms. This is how I would do it. And it's like, well, it's not just the dad, right? He has an entire family with a white picket fence in a little suburb that they've built and they're happy. And there's a lot of people involved that need to process this information.
And there's a lot of fear. There's right now she's afraid. His wife is afraid.
I totally get that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the more you can try to empathize with her, and I wouldn't say, oh, you must feel this, you must feel that. It's more like just acknowledging that like you showing up probably creates a lot of unexpected things. And I'm sorry. I really, because I don't like, you are a mom, you're a wife, right? Relate to her as mom to wife. Like, I don't even know what I would do if my husband shared this information, and I would be reluctant to meet the version of me type of thing. So I totally get it. I really, really do, find common ground with her. And that's the best way to try to connect. And you have a lot of common ground with her, you know?
Yeah.
You really do. And, you know, so I would go that direction.
Well, I'm going to try that. I'll probably try to call him over the weekend or next week and just kind of come at him with, you know, graciousness and love and openness, and then see if he would be open to me maybe writing a letter. I think that's a good idea.
And maybe when you say, hey, would you be open to this? Maybe like offer it as like not something like, would you be open to me writing this tomorrow? Be like, I think you kind of want to reset expectations with him, because last time you tried to do that, it was very much like you kind of gave him a timeline, a deadline. You know, you're kind of like, hey, I'm going to need this to give you that. And I would maybe pull back from that a little bit.
Definitely.
And just, you know, so maybe you send him a text message saying, hey man, I was just thinking, hey man, I don't know how you refer to him, but
hey,
like,
bro.
just be like, I was just thinking of you. And I just want to say again, like maybe text him, like, I'm just really grateful that we were able to connect. It really is. It's really meant a lot to me. But maybe we can talk on the phone in the next couple of weeks, and just kind of very, very chill, very open-ended, not like we need to talk, you know, just.
Yeah, no, me reaching out would be totally normal, just to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What are you doing this weekend? Like, that would be very normal for us to.
Yeah. But when you do, I would say, send them that message and say, before you say what's up and can we talk, send them even when you get off the phone today, send them a message. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, I was just thinking, and I just want to say, like, us reconnecting has meant the world to me. And this could have gone so many different ways. And I'm just so appreciative of honestly who you are as a person. And, you know, given the whole, like, I know we don't know each other very well, but like the little bit I do know about you, like, I'm really proud to find out, you know, the man that you are, and that you're my dad. And maybe we could talk in a couple weeks.
But do you think that, I guess where my train of thought is going, like, yes, I'm an adult, but I am the child in the scenario. Sometimes it feels like, am I doing all of the work, and am I the one trying to build this relationship? Shouldn't he also be messaging me those things? Or
I'm not an expert, so
sure.
But my opinion is that who cares?
Okay.
You are, like you said, you're an adult. Like at this point, this is very much under the, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Do you want to have a relationship with your father, or do you want to feel like you have, it's less of a threat to you to have him in your life than it is for him. And not because he isn't open to it, right? Your husband is more like, oh, I want you to connect with your biological father. Your child doesn't know the fucking difference. You know, your kid's going to be like, cool, I got two grandpas that, you know, it's all gravy. It's all cool. On his end, he's got three, you know, not adult, but adultish kid, like kids already, that he would have to sit down and say, hey, I got some news that is going to fucking blow your mind. And he's very must be nervous to tell them. He's got a wife who, again, this disrupted, you know, so adult, he's got more reasons to like be not sure. Like it's all gravy for you. Mm-hmm. It's not all gravy for him, so to speak, if that makes sense. True. So,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, just plain devil's advocate. You know, I don't think there's a right way. I don't think there's a right way. And I'm really glad that he did reach out to you first. Honestly, I was shocked to hear that, you know.
He did, but I had to find him.
No, I know. But he also didn't know you existed.
He knew a baby existed, but yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm just like, I'm trying to find the positive.
No, and I like your advice. I definitely think I'm going to take that route of just, you know, coming at it with love and just trying to be more patient.
Yeah, because I guess my overwhelming theme is it took you this long to find him. You're a young woman. He is your dad. Your biological father is a young man, you know. Mm-hmm. Knock on wood. Hopefully he has a lot of life left.
Right.
And you got hopefully, knock on wood, a lot of years to grow this relationship. So let's just be a little patient. Let's not rock the boat. Let's not do or say anything that could give a false impression of what you're trying to do or this relationship. You know, let's, you know, there's so much good that can come on the other end and so much positivity that can come on the other end, that just a little patience up front might go a long way. You know, rather than coming across as a threat or adversarial, you know, again, they don't know you and they're operating out of fear, you know? So think of your, like, again, you're the mom. If there was a threat to your family and like, as soon as you had your kid, you immediately you wanted to protect your child. You wanted to protect your family. So she's coming at this as a protective mother.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, what like, she's the key, truly.
I mean, and I've said that too. I'm like, I don't know how I would tell my 13-year-old daughter this information.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I wouldn't have to have, I don't know what that would feel like. So that's why I've just been being patient and I haven't pushed any issues. And this is why I wanted advice on how to kind of move forward in those next steps. So
I lean into the fact that you and his wife have a lot in common, because you do, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
that makes me want to cry a little.
Yeah, I think this is a really positive story, and we're just kind of in the middle of it, you know, and there's a lot of good that can come from this. And, you know, the more you can empathize with her and make her feel safer and less afraid, the better.
Okay.
All right.
I like it.
Okay. Well, please keep us updated, because I can assure we are all very invested in this story.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy I got to be on the podcast. I've been a day one listener. So.
Oh, well, we appreciate you listening and appreciate you calling in even more. This is a really touching story, and I really hope it continues to be a good one.
Thank you.
I'm very optimistic for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Congrats on little Rivy.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ask any mom. Running a busy household can be pure chaos and stressful for the whole family. Who has what, when, what's for dinner? What do we need from the grocery store? Did someone feed the dogs? Did you take that out of the dryer? That shouldn't have gone in the dryer, but it was supposed to go in the washer. It's a lot, right? And the mental load can be hard to keep on top of, but there's a way to make it all easier for the mom and the entire family, and that is the Skylight calendar.
Absolutely. It has changed our life for the best, and we only have one little one and the two of us and a couple of dogs, but certainly all you families out there that are a little bit larger and feel like you're just kind of all over the place and missing appointments and, you know, leaving your kids, you know, at school so they, you know, you forget to pick them up. We all know what that's like. I've had that happen to me.
If you're unsure what the Skylight calendar is, it's a smart touchscreen calendar and organizer for all of your chores, your groceries, your to-do list. It's a great way to manage appointments to make sure that they never overlap and that they're never missed. It helps keep busy households on track and everyone on the same page so families can get back to moments that matter.
Skylight calendars sync events from existing family calendars, including Google, Apple, and Outlook. You can also add events directly using their touchscreen or with the free Skylight mobile app. Uplinks to linked calendars will automatically appear on the Skylight calendar at home.
We have the Skylight calendar in the 15-inch. That's actually the one that's wall mountable, so you don't have to add something else to your counter, but they have one in a 10-inch as well.
The Skylight calendar is a touchscreen calendar and organizer for all your chores, groceries, to-do lists, and a great way to manage appointments. It helps keep busy households on track and everyone on the same page so families can get time back for moments that matter. As a special limited time offer for our listeners, get 15% off your purchase of a Skylight calendar when you go to skylightcal.com/files. That's SKYLIGHTCAL.com/FILES. Mother's Day is coming right up, so order today to get 15% off your purchase at skylightcal.com/files. Again, that's skylightcal.com/files. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm 23 and I'm scared to drink with my best friend.
Okay. Tell me more.
Okay. If I get emotional, I'm sorry. I'll probably start laughing first. But my best friend from college, who I adore, and I honestly can't say enough amazing things about him, has a really bad problem with drinking that probably goes back about a year and a half at this point. And during the fall of 2022, we had a series of instances in which like his behavior, like the outlashes, the verbal outlashes, never physical, would always kind of fall on me. And I'm not a super confrontational person, so doing what I thought was best was obviously not. I kind of just would push it to the side and be like, can you calm down, whatever. He'd go to sleep and wake up, and the next day it was literally like he wouldn't remember. And the person that I went out with was not my best friend. And it kind of got to a point after like 2 months of this, or maybe a month and a half, where one night it was like in front of a group. And he came back to my apartment because he knew something was wrong, even in his like drunken stupor, I guess. And he like came into my room because I left it unlocked, which is normal for us. And he was like, "What's wrong with you? You're in a bad mood." And I was like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Can we just talk tomorrow? I don't want to do this. Obviously, he didn't listen to me. And our other friends came in the room too. And I was like, please, 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 please.
Is he a roommate?
He's not a roommate. Basically, I lived in a single, and then my 3 best friends lived, like the 3 guys lived in the apartment across the hall. So might as well be roommates.
Gotcha. Is it like a dorm? Like a dormitory?
Yeah, student, like an apartment. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I kind of just lost my, I don't want to curse, but I just kind of lost my marbles and said some things that I definitely regretted. It wasn't personal, like the attacks he made at me, but I just screamed at him. I was like, if I wanted to be reminded of all my insecurities and every bad thing that's ever happened to me, I don't need you to take a few shots and remind me. And I started sobbing. And that's just not like I would never, in front of especially a group of people, like describe his alcohol use in that way and just be that mean is not even the right word. It was like I dug in. And so after that was like the catalyst for a larger conversation about his alcohol use. And then things were great for, I'd say, around 9 months, really until the end of my senior year of college, which was this past May. He stopped drinking for 6 months. We had a conversation the following day, and he was like, "I'm signing up for therapy. I need to figure out what's wrong with me, and I can't keep having my best friend be the like emotional punching bag." Like, he said everything that I wanted him to say in that conversation. And again, like for 6 months, he was it was great to have a DD, but also like he really handled that all very well. And so I was like, this has gone away. I know that's not how substance abuse issues work, but I don't have prior exposure to it. So in my mind, I was like, this is fixed. And that was a naive perspective of me to have. And to be honest, I never really like checked in on him, which I regretted doing. I kind of was like, he's not drinking. He seems happy. I'm happy. And like my whole group seemed very like relieved. And so then this past summer of 2023, like college graduation was like a fun time for all of us to kind of like party a lot and whatever. And I don't really drink. I have my own vice. Let's just say that. And
I smoke weed too,
Oh, okay. Perfect. Well, that's just, like no judgment, people's whatever you want to do. But yeah, so I'm just like, I just need a gummy and a Diet Coke and I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
But he started, and he let me know before, but this past like spring and summer, he was like, look, I've gone to therapy and I feel really good. And I think I'm going to start reintroducing, alcohol. I enjoy drinking. It's something I really like to do. And I just like, he wasn't asking me for permission, but he was just like letting me know.
Giving you the heads up. Yeah.
Yeah, which was awesome. And I was like, look, like if you feel good, like obviously you don't need my green light. Like I want you to be happy. And if that's like whatever. So
but bad Brad is back, so to speak.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, okay, like I honestly had a very like positive mindset about it. I don't want to
just out of curiosity, do you notice his behavior be different with different types of alcohol that he drinks?
Not types of alcohol, but types of people that are around him. It seems like the people that he's most comfortable with, this behavior kind of presents itself more. But
I had one of my best friends, still my best friend to this day. Sweet man. Great father, sweet guy. Huh?
Not Sweet Boy Justin.
Not Sweet Boy Justin.
Another one.
I've known him since kindergarten, and when he would drink whiskey, shots of whiskey, and there was a time where I was 21 years old, and this is one story. He went to a different college and he was visiting, and me and my first girlfriend, who had a million breakups, we were still talking, but we were on the outs, and he dated, her best friend. And like, so we were all close, even though there was a lot, we're around a little bit younger than you, but around your age. And I was sleeping, and my ex, technically at the time, called me up, just hyperventilating, just like beside herself. And I was like, what is wrong? And her friend, like, were like fucking with him. Calling him up and just like teasing him, like being very playful, but not realizing while they were doing this, he was out on a bender, college bender. And so when he got the message, bad Brad, so to speak, his name's not Brad, got this message and like called up and like in his own drunken stupor, thinking he's being a friend to me, he like called up me like, you fucking whore, Nick fucking hates you, never fucking talk to him again, just like said some evil things. Anyways, I woke up, he came back from the bars, and then my other friend who we all grew up with, they were out together, I wasn't, and like he had to separate because I got really mad, and he was coming at me because he was like sensitive. The next day he wakes up, I'm fucking pissed. He has no memory, no record, he has no idea what happened. And I told him, and he was embarrassed, and he apologized to her. It's like like he had he like woke up and was like, hey man, how's it going? And I'm like, you don't remember anything from the night before, do you? He's like, no. Some people are like that. He'd stop taking shots. So it was whiskey. Anytime he'd take shots of whiskey, it would just like, anyways, he stopped doing shots of whiskey. He like still drinks wine from time to time. Now he's just like a dad and it's all chill, whatever. But like, yeah, some people, lights go fucking out, they become a different person. Yeah, we got in a couple like fights over it, and it was always like with he got in one time he came and visited me in Chicago. I lost him like 15 minutes. He came back with a black eye because he picked a fight with some random strangers, because he would just turn into this like aggressive guy when he would take shots. Anyways, listen, also question, why is your best friend not your boyfriend?
My best friend likes men, so I'm S-type.
Oh, okay, there you go. That makes sense. It's a valid question when a lovely lady like yourself has a male best friend, but if he's gay, then he's gay. Great.
Yeah.
That answers that. So there's no like built up like I love you.
No.
Nothing like that. Okay. So I guess where do you like? You said you're afraid to drink with him. Like I guess the obvious answer is, why do you have to drink around him? Like you can still have is alcohol such a big part of his life now that like he's always drunk, and then you have to be with like can't you just to say like, listen, I love you, I respect you, but like listen, and I'm not here to tell you how much you should drink or but like when you do, I see a side of you that just makes me feel uncomfortable, unsafe, sad, and so like I'm just let's grab lunch, let's get dinner, I'm here for you, but like I'm not going to party with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking I wanted to do. And we don't even live in the same city. So it's not, I mean, I don't really like to party that much, but it's not even like if I'm going to partake in that activity, he's somebody that I regularly see. But it's just, we have these major life events where alcohol is inevitably going to be involved, especially this upcoming spring with like reunions and like, I wrote in my email that my parents have their like annual Cinco de Mayo party, and like they're so generous in letting me invite like whoever I want, pretty much, so long as like they can pay the airfare and come in for this event. So that like, and he's one of those people, and like I want him there so badly. But I guess the reason I emailed you was because of this upcoming May 5th thing, but I think it's a catalyst for a larger conversation. And it's relatively avoidable because he doesn't live in my city, but it's like whether it's weddings or alumni weekends or other family things, it's just.
Well, he recognized there was a problem back in the day, so that's good. Is he aware that he's, like clearly he has a substance abuse problem? Like my friend who I described, like he was just like his now wife, his then girlfriend was like, you can't do shots. You can't do shots of whiskey. We'd have a couple like, it's like if you got drunk too fast, he just, I can't black out. I've never blacked out in my life. I will throw up. I will puke. I don't drink that much, but like before the lights go out, the lights start spinning and I will puke. I remember like the 5 most drunken nights of my life, I remember vividly.
Yeah.
Him on the other hand, he will black the fuck out. It'll be like he doesn't know if he's on fucking Mars. And so if he got drunk too, and he will never throw up. The body will just say, give me more, give me more, give me more. So he has to drink at a slower pace because then he could like recognize that he's getting drunk and slow down. But if he drank too fast and did too many shots, he wouldn't have a chance to recognize how fucked up he was getting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There's this seemingly like, not that it's even my place to intervene like I'm a therapist, because I'm not one, but there's just seems to be a lot of like behaviors that I notice prior to when it gets to like okay, this person is like not this person anymore. There's like the impulsive drinking and like I'm not like we go out to dinner and no food is ordered. It's just drinks. And I'm also stoned, so I definitely am eating, but that's a separate issue. But it's just like this impulse to get to that level as soon as possible. But once that level's met, lights are out. And I'm like,
now, the benefit with my friend that I keep referring to is that like he was always so embarrassed about this like alter ego that he had. We would tease him about it, we'd make fun of him, and he was truly humiliated. Like he really didn't like that. And so that was pretty easy to be like, well, if you don't like that part about you, you need to do something about it. And that do something about it, thankfully, was just simply just removing like shots of whiskey from his like drinking repertoire. My question to you is like, how does he feel about your feelings on this situation?
I mean, we haven't had and this is why I feel like it got to this point, not because of me, but we haven't had a conversation about this since fall of 2022 when I like finally like screamed at him, for lack of better words.
So like you need to stop doing that. Like you seem like this really nice, sweet person. Even you're like, oh, I don't want to swear. Like fuck shitballs. We can swear on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a little too polite and a little too delicate for your own good. You know, and I think like you clearly have the ability to speak up, you know, and it's just like if you ever get to the point where you like fucking like unleash the hounds of unleash the hounds of hell, like you got to avoid that, you know, like that's never productive. So when you blow up at someone, pretty sure that means that like you have been bottling up these emotions, you have been swallowing things you want to say, you've been looking the other way, you've been avoiding conflict, but you never really avoid it because all it really does is like reach a breaking point where then you end up blowing up and saying a bunch of things that you're like, oh, I shouldn't have blown up that way. So instead, why don't you just like, he is your best friend, and best friends are supposed to be able to have sometimes tough conversations. And it's like, he's already acknowledged a problem in the past. Sounds like he's aware of how things, and you simply pointing out that like, listen, man, like I see it again. And I don't want you to, I'm worried about you. And more than that, like I can't have you here knowing that this person might show up, and this person does show up when you drink. And if that's hard for him to hear, well, so be it. You know, like that's better that you bring it up in a empathetic, productive way rather than wait for, because what you don't want to happen is to ignore your instincts, have him come out, do the thing that you know that you anticipate him doing, and then lose your fucking shit on him again in a way that you're going to then have feelings of regret and have to apologize. You don't have to apologize. If you were to reach out to him now or whatever and to say, hey, I want to talk to you about something, you might have to say some difficult things. But you saying it at this state, you're not going to say anything hurtful. You're not going to go out of your way to hurt his feelings. You might say, you can't help if some of the things you say hurt his feelings, but that's a him problem, not a you problem. The moment you say something that you know is going to hurt him, and you say it because you want to cut, because hurt people and you feel hurt. So you say something to hurt him, then you might have to apologize, but you want to have a productive conversation. And if you want to say things that you truly feel because you care about him, because you want to help him. And again, if it happens to hurt his feelings, that's something he's going to have to process, but you can still lead with love and say, I'm sorry if what I'm saying is hurting you, but I love you and I just care about you. And I want what's best for you. And I'm saying this because I want you in my life. I care about you. I want to invite you to things, but I worry about how, your actions will affect that, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. And I'm not here to tell you how to drink, but like, I am here to tell you, to point out that like, when you do drink, the same problems that happened in the past are here again. And great, he took 6 months off, but clearly like the problem isn't the drinking. The problem is what happens when he does drink. And the problem is how he uses alcohol or how he abuses alcohol. Like, yeah, he should not be drinking alcohol in an empty stomach, like fucking 101. Like freshmen in college know that shit. And so for him to like not go out of his way to make sure that he has a full stomach, which means that he is trying to get fucked up.
Yeah, I can see and like sense this, like, and even like as we talk about certain events, like of course, like even post-college, drink whatever, but it's like, I can't wait to get super like fucked up, which is, if this version of him didn't come out, I'd be like, same, like, I'm going to be so hot. We're going to do all these things. But I'm like, well, how can you really not wait? Because once you're there, it's not fun. And
he doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's not fun for you. It's not fun for anyone else. He doesn't even fucking realize.
Yeah. No, I know.
And like, you're not doing him, no one's doing him any favors by being afraid to point out the obvious to him.
Yeah, that's also very true. It's kind of staring most people in the face. But
yeah, not trying to make you feel bad, but right now you're not being the friend that he needs.
Yeah, I know. And I really, he is like, again, an incredible friend and someone that's not uncomfortable with confrontation. So for some reason the tables were turned. Like another thing, I'm like, I know he would say something to me.
Yeah. Like I don't know. It's like you feel a little guilt to bring something up to him. It's like, hey, you don't want to hurt him. Is my guess. You don't want to hurt his feelings, but
Yeah,
did you ever
I know.
let him know that weed's a great alternative? No one turns into an asshole off of weed.
We tried, like, they came home to my hometown because I'm living at home before grad school right now with my family. And I was like, do you want to try? And he was very open, and it was the best night ever. Like, really. And so I don't really mean that's going to cure all his problems, but I would love if that became a regular part of his whatever. It was great.
Some people have to go sober. Some people have to recognize they have a bad relationship with alcohol. Life's not fair. It's like there are other ways to find whatever he thinks he's getting from alcohol. And he needs to explore that. And he needs to, great that he got into therapy. Is he still in therapy?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Well, he needs to maybe have a more honest conversation with his therapist about his relationship with alcohol and is dependent on it. And why does he abuse it when he uses it? Some people just they can't control themselves. My friend, I keep pointing out, thankfully he was able to really limit it. And now as an adult man, he'll have a glass of wine and it's not a big deal. He'll have a craft beer with his buddies, but he doesn't get drunk anymore, and he was able to control that. But if he wasn't, he might have to make different decisions. At the end of the day, he didn't want to be a dad and a husband who occasionally just got fucked up and his wife or kids didn't recognize him, and that he wasn't in control of his own actions. It's a really scary feeling. He literally, one time, my friend, another crazy story, we were out at the bars. This is 20 years ago, right? We were at the bars and I look around, I'm like, where is he? I'm texting him, where'd you go? He's gone for 45 minutes. Nowhere. Came back and he kind of had he was kind of like he saw a ghost, and he kind of admitted to me afterwards that he blacked out, got in his car. We were in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, started to drive to Chicago, got halfway there, kind of came to, didn't realize what he was doing, turned back around, came back to the bars.
Oh my God. A motor vehicle? That's really scary.
Yeah. And so and he had no idea that he was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fucked up. That's crazy. And so it scared him. It scared him that he knew that if he got a certain kind of drunk, that he had no control over his choices and actions. And he was making choices and actions that could destroy his life or destroy someone else's life or both. And that's terrifying. And so he needs to recognize that there's that similarity of you might like drinking, but it gets to a point where you're going to hurt yourself or someone else. I mean, the least of his concerns is saying something that he's going to regret, let alone doing something, because he is not who he is when he's drunk. He becomes a different person.
Yeah.
They're this alter ego, and it's pretty common. And he needs to recognize that. And if that means he has to give up alcohol forever, then so be it. And, listen, I know that's easier said than done, but he might have to have some tough decisions. But, a lot of people out there have made that choice.
And I don't I don't know what the future holds for him in that decision. I know if it got to that point, he would. But again, and something that I explained to him last time that I want to say to him again was again, if the person that you became when you were drunk didn't contrast so deeply with the person you were, I wouldn't be friends, obviously, with somebody like that. But it wouldn't it cut so deep because it's this is we kind of always will joke and be oh my God.
Does he have we gave our friend an alter ego name. There's a lot of friends out there. It's I have another friend, not as bad, but we would call him Carl. I don't even know where it came from. But oh, Carl, Carl, am I talking to so-and-so or am I talking to Carl? Do you have does he have an alter ego name?
No, I haven't tried.
That's fine. I'm not suggesting you do, but I guess my point is you could say to him listen, I want you to come to this party, but I don't want the other person to come.
Mm-hmm.
I can't have the other person come. I can't have that other person meet my parents. It can't happen. And knowing that you are drinking and using alcohol in the way that you are, I want to talk to you about that. And, lead with love. You're obviously a very kind and empathetic person. You know how to approach this with love. You know how to approach this in a way that, you're not coming at him in a way that you're intentionally trying to hurt him. And so you just got to start there. Honestly, there's no better time than the present. You don't have to wait. I would just pick up the phone today and have this conversation. FaceTime for sure. Definitely not over text or over the phone. And just have the long, overweighted conversation of hey, I'm worried. I'm just worried. and I love you. And here are some things I'm noticing. Here are some requests that I have, and I don't know what you have to say about it, but I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, that's a good, because I just didn't want to make it, because last time we had the conversation, it was like he came to my room, he led it, and from start to finish, like he did do most of the talking and said, here's what I'm going to do to fix this, X, Y, and Z. And so there was no ultimatum to be made, because he was like, I'm just giving it up and getting into therapy, point blank, period. And I was like, okay, I wasn't even going to ask you to do that, but that's incredible for yourself. And then now it's, I just don't want to, I mean, he's already in therapy, but again, me initiating the conversation, I just don't want to ever make him feel like he has to, like, again, choose alcohol over, or not alcohol over me, but I don't know, like, or coming off as, because I also really don't drink. It's like, I don't get it. I don't.
Well, why do you have to? Why do you? I don't understand. Why you're overthinking this?
Yeah, I guess I just don't want it to come off as not pompous, but like you have a problem and I'm going to help. I don't know, like superiority. I don't know what the right word is.
I mean,
but
he has a problem. I don't like. It's just not like, Again, I keep using my friend as an example. It wasn't like, hey, I'm better than you because I don't do this. It was more like, this is dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You're saying things to people that scare them. You're putting yourself in scary situations by getting into a car. Like you're blacking out and forgetting entire pieces of a night. And then when you are this drunk, you're making decisions that aren't the person that I'm friends with. And like, that's dangerous. It's scary. You're coming to him as a friend, a concerned friend. You know? Yeah. Thankfully you have a friend who, like, you blew up finally, when he said and did some things, and that affected him and it hurt him, and he, obviously valued your friendship. And so that was a catalyst. Well, let's not wait till that happens again.
Yeah, I know it. Sometimes I like feel it approaching, and I for so many reasons, it wasn't the right way to handle it the first time. I think I didn't know how to handle it, so I didn't handle it, and then it handled itself when my emotions just kind of took control of my actions in some way. Obviously, it's so different, but I almost felt like for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, however long it was, I was like, well, that wasn't me either.
Yeah. Your empathy is like causing you not to be the friend he needs right now. You're so afraid of coming off a certain way or making sure you don't, like, at the end of the day, like, he needs a friend like you to say something,
Yeah.
And the good news is he's already made some progress in the past. You might need another wake up call. I don't know, but you might have to set some hard boundaries. He might, I mean, outsider here, but if this conversation doesn't go the way you hope, I don't think he should come to this party.
Yeah, I know. And that's why, like, really, it would cause more for them to not, like, we've discussed it so much.
It would cause maybe a lot more short-term drama for sure, but long run, like, it's obvious what needs to be done. This is not like the party. I'm sure it's not like congratulations on graduation. I'm glad this is a very happy time in your life and everyone's celebrating. I get it. And you're going to have fun either way. But this party isn't the end all be all. Next year, there'll be another Cinco de Mayo. You know what I'm saying? But this is about like helping your friend who needs help.
Yeah.
And I don't know if uninviting him to this party, how it might affect this party, but who gives a shit?
No, I know. It's like, there's always going to be a reason for me to not and to procrastinate it. And it's like this party, it's weddings, it's just a million things that are like upcoming and that are even more important. Like my own, again, long down the line, and I have no idea, but like my own wedding day, of course I want him there.
Sure. Or like, do you really want him? Does he want to be known as someone who ruined someone's wedding? I mean, that's best case scenario. Again, like someone who can get this drunk and this disconnected from who they are as a person are capable of doing things that will ruin their life.
Yeah.
Like he could get in a car, he could get into an altercation with the wrong person, like,
yeah,
there's a million bad situations that could happen. I mean, think about it. Like, when people get this drunk, some people have no control over who they are and they go out into the wild. Like, how unsafe is that to like have no control over who you are, to no control over your decisions, and yet those decisions you make you will still be held accountable for. And no one gets to go into court and be like, oh, I was too fucked up. I was,
Yeah, no, thank God that's not how the world works. But yeah, I know
So yeah, a party, come on. There'll be another party.
Yeah, I'm hoping that like if this gets, that's why I was like anxious to talk and also just to have the conversation with him, because if it goes extremely well, like
then yeah, great. But if it doesn't, you're going to have to make some tough choices.
Yeah, no, I know. And I'm also like, I'm more protective over my family in this event than I am I would not have a hard time setting that boundary because it's my family. It's not even about me. It's about my whatever. I just wouldn't even allow that to be a possibility.
I think you reach out to him, you check in and be like, hey, I want to talk. I love you. I miss you. I'm concerned. And maybe you see this coming, but like, the same thing that happened when it happened, like we're back to where we were. So like you made decisions then for the best. And it's like you try drinking again, but like we're back to nothing's been improved. All that happened is like you're back to that person again.
Yeah. It's just like frustrating because I don't know a lot of I know that he has other friends that he drinks with. And when he will tell me and recount those weekends, I went to this city to visit so-and-so. And I know so-and-so not very well. And we had the best time. We went out, we did this, we did that. Obviously, they're not going to tell me if something happened, but I'm like, am I not triggering, but I'm like, is this certain group that I'm part of the reason why we get to be treated this way? Because I like high school friends or whatever friends, I'm like, they don't seem to be dealing with this. And again, that's not something I'm going to bring up in the conversation.
How do you know? I mean, you don't even know. Maybe they're just as fucked up as him.
Yeah. Maybe they don't notice or I don't even know, but yeah, I know. And I just have one more question. So I'm actually going to see this person in person, whatever. I'm going to the city they live in next Thursday. And so I was like, and I'm staying with them. So I was like, I don't know. There won't be as much drinking involved then. At least not.
Well, other than the fact that you're staying with him, I would say, yeah, maybe you just wait to have that conversation in person, unless you feel like can you afford a hotel if you need to?
Well, I also have like other friends that live in the city, and
so
it's not.
Yeah, I would maybe you wait to have this conversation in person.
Yeah, I think I might. I mean, just because it's so soon, it's not like I'm putting it off. It's really just 1 week.
Yeah,
but okay.
I mean, I'm getting the sense this is like it's one of those things that you it's not as bad as you're afraid of it's going to be, like moving or something. Like that's my hope for you, because again, this already happened and it actually went well.
Yeah, it did. It went better. If I could picture how it was going to go down after everything was said and done, which I obviously wish the prior stuff hadn't happened, everything was really perfect. And I know that they're an incredible person. So it's like,
so lead with all that. And if it doesn't go the way you hoped, you can point out and like, isn't that concerning that like you're more resistant to it now? Like, but you have to say something.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
And
I think
you're not gonna be mean. You're not gonna, this is what a real friend does.
Yeah, I know. And I just also keep going on two things that this is going to happen at some point, because if it's not this party or this weekend, it's some other event that's going to whatever. But also like, I just know if the tables were turned and if for some reason every single time I smoke a joint, I become a raging crazy person, like they would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
there you go. My gut tells me you're overthinking it. You're psyching yourself out, and you just got to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, please let us know how it goes.
Yeah, I'll let you know how the conversation. I'm definitely going to do it like as soon as I get there, just because we have a whole weekend and I'm not going to put it off.
Great.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated.
Right, keep us
I think
updated.
I'll have an update.
I think it's going to go better than you fear.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And
My
also
pleasure.
just congrats, you and Natalie on River and everything.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. And congratulations on graduating college, and you're going to undergrad. What are you studying?
Well, no, I'm going to grad school next fall.
Yeah, sorry. What are you studying?
For clinical mental health counseling. So this should be
practice.
relevant.
Yeah, this would be good practice.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to send in those questions at AskNick@theviallfiles.com for all things Ask Nick, texting office hours, mediation. We'll see you back tomorrow for a reality recap. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.